So we'll keep it going. All right.
Yep.
So this is Media Marauders. For all the fans out there, welcome back. We are back. We will continue to keep coming back. Last week we kind of spoke on our own personal media, but also we spoke on some things that we felt strongly about in our climate and still feel strongly about. This a lot that's happening around us is not going to end. I hope it doesn't end anytime soon, especially with the expected changes that a lot of people want. But we're here. We're back to talk about something a little less heavy, or completely less heavy. Switch it up, have a little bit more fun. We're here to be other people's distractions. So, wish us luck on that. We are now on episode 1000. So thank you all for the ones that the fans and all that keep coming back. We appreciate that. And also, before we start, please click like and subscribe to our channel. And also remember that bell on the corner or on the side of your screen, wherever it is. Make sure you do click on that as well for all Media Marauders content and all the annoyance that we give or hypotheticals or opinions that we feel strongly about. We know you guys are looking forward to them. So thank you again for the ones that are back. All right. The topic for today.
And please comment on the video so I can talk trash back to you. I just feel like talking trash.
I just want somebody to argue with. We're not enough, obviously. All right, I got you. But now today we have another discussion. I'm hoping this turns into a nice heated debate because I'm ready to destroy childhoods and I'm ready to just shit on everybody's opinion today because this is one discussion that I felt not strongly about, but I feel a lot of people have something to talk on, and it's on nostalgia within media. Does nostalgia affect media today? As in, for example, when you go back to play a particular form of media, does the memory when you first play it still uphold and present when you do watch it again or play it again? Me personally, depending on the media or majority of media, I say nostalgia holds a bigger factor to when you go back and watch it or play it. As in, going back to watch Dragon Ball Z, I think is trash right now.
Yo, what?
I think Dragon Ball Z, the original, is trash. So
Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z?
Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball is great.
Nah,
I still enjoy Dragon Ball.
Nah.
I still enjoy Dragon Ball.
Nah.
Yes. I could go back and watch Dragon Ball from the beginning to end, and I could do the same with Dragon Ball Z. But there's a lot of shit talking. I'm gonna be doing that throughout Dragon Ball Z.
I be on IG all day looking at video clips of Dragon Ball Z, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
so
does
nostalgia play a factor? So does nostalgia play a factor in that? Or do you still love the fights? Do you still love the visuals? Do you still love the explanation of power levels? Is all that still composed of a great anime to you?
Yeah.
To me, for Dragon Ball Z, yeah. For Dragon Ball Z, yes.
Nah.
Just think about it. Just think about of the anime we watched.
Okay.
And like, movies and everything like that. What stuff stuck out to us? It's like, it wasn't love scenes for us that I know of. I mean, but usually it's like, fighting scenes and everything like that. Like, seeing the visuals and seeing somebody finally power up and finally go fight, or like, some epic
after about
like
5 hours of a power up. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, like after, and you finally get to that moment, and it's so tense, and you want to see it happen. But you know what I'm saying? I'm watching clips. I ain't watching the whole thing because I got tired of those waiting forever for a power up. But it still had some intensity, and the what's that word called? The suspense of it. But like, even let's go with the movie Inception. The way Inception was presented, I still love that movie. Like, I don't want to watch that whole movie for like whatever it was, like 2 hours or whatever. But the way that movie was presented and how it was different in that time, I still like it. Just like the epic moments in The Matrix, the exact same thing. When Neo was on the side of the building pulling a damn helicopter, like, and dodging bullets and, jumping inside whatever those people are called. That was called Mr. Anderson.
Okay, so all right, so you're bringing up The Matrix, and you also brought up, what was it, Inception? Are those old enough to be nostalgic, or are those just fun, like just good TV show or movies?
The Matrix gotta be old enough. When did The Matrix
old enough? When did Inception come out?
Inception came out 2008 or 9? No, 2009 or 10.
Yeah, that's old enough. That's almost that's a
I'm not.
decade
Yeah,
ago.
I'm not about to just go pick up that movie to go watch it. Okay, so I'm the type of person that will literally, besides like Gladiator, honestly, besides like Gladiator and little clips and stuff, I won't go back and rewatch a movie. Like that's just not me. So when it comes to nostalgia and stuff like that, it's the big epic moments. To me, a lot of movies and stuff like that just don't hold up. Like just like with music, I will like certain stuff will be like, classics to me, but unless I'm in the mood or something like that, I'm not just gonna go back to it. I'm just gonna pick certain points or like, key factors or like, things that I like and then listen to it or watch it. Otherwise than that, I'm not gonna pay attention. Like I kind of erase it from my memory. Like it's
All
just
right, so let me see if I can try to define this a bit more. Nostalgia to me is when I watched Mortal Kombat for the first time as a kid. You know what I mean? That's like the level of nostalgia that I'm speaking on. When the first time you played Sonic the Hedgehog, the first time you played Altered Beasts, like shit like that is when I'm.
Beast, man.
You know what I
That
mean?
one, yeah, that one.
Like
I
when
can
you
buy
play,
Xbox 2
what's it called, Galactica? I forgot what the spaceship.
Galaga.
Galaga. Sorry, excuse me. Y'all can kill me in the comments. Go ahead. But games like going back to those games, going back to like watching Batman the animated series, Sonic the Hedgehog the animated series, like shit like that, going back to it, like The Simpsons, we spoke on that earlier. Like when I first watched The Simpsons, I was 8 years old. And I knew even as a child I wasn't supposed to be watching it. But I could go back with Disney grant for thanks for Disney Plus, I could go back and watch The Simpsons and I still enjoy it. I still enjoy The Simpsons for what it is. So
Okay.
I'm speaking on the terms of Super Mario Bros. The movie. Can you go back and watch that movie? And if you do you really think you're gonna like it as much as you did as a kid?
I'm not watching that movie again.
I didn't like the movie as a kid. It wasn't a
Yeah,
good
me
movie.
I loved the movie as a kid.
Really?
I loved the movie as a kid because it was Mario Brothers. I played Mario growing up.
Trash.
Yeah, it's a trash movie. Johnny Depp was
It wasn't the
a
Mario
great
Brothers.
actor.
That's why.
You said what?
It wasn't the Mario Brothers. It was what?
Like let's even call up Ghostbusters. I'm not going to go back to watch that movie, man. I'm
Hey,
sorry,
you-
not
You
me.
tripping? You
I'm not
tripping?
touching
You tripping? You
I'm not
tripping?
touching Ghostbusters. Not touching it.
Why?
Nope.
Why? All right. So
Ghostbusters
this is where we could kind of define what nostalgia. Why wouldn't you go back and watch Ghostbusters?
I never was really that interested when I was watching it.
See,
But the
that doesn't
cartoon,
work
the movie I
because
didn't
you
like,
it.
but I was okay with the cartoon. The cartoon was okay. But if you want to go back to nostalgia, you're going to have to pull out something like Beast Wars and when Beast Wars and Transformers was out back in the day. Like they're better than a lot of cartoons of today, especially with the animation quality. Like I don't know what happened. Like everybody's like trying to make it look all like childish now. That's just I feel like that's not the way to go. Like
So that's one thing that we can't really do though, because we could speak in hypotheticals. Because you haven't gone back and rewatched Beast Wars, have you?
I've watched like clips. I mean, I just do clips, but it's like something that like there's so much new media out there. I don't have time to go back and watch it. It's like me going to go back and play a video game. I just don't go back to go do that. Like
if it was that good, you will go back. If it was
No.
that good to you, you will go back and watch it.
See, I feel like that's the issue though, because nostalgia deals with being sentimental. If you're not a sentimental person, you're not gonna go back and watch anything.
Man, all right, we get it. Y'all was Stone Cold, Steve Austin, WWE in this bitch. I get it. But I'm just saying, I'm sure, Thomas, that you have had a moment in nostalgia where you had a certain amount of affection towards a form of media. You just say you're defending the shit out of Dragon Ball Z just now.
No, because Dragon Ball Z has some technical like things that they did that have been mimicked so many times now. On a technical level, Dragon Ball Z did certain things.
The yellow aura, yep.
The aura, even the idea of power levels that lasted for how many animes and mangas before they're like, you know what? Let's try to like build something more established.
Power levels. I cannot stand power levels in anime.
But Dragon Ball Z and their power levels went from Dragon Ball Z did it, and how many other people copied it?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. What you're saying is like I think that's why I like watching Dragon Ball Z, and I think that's why like I brought up Inception and like other stuff like it's because they had to in Matrix stuff like that because they had the key pivotal moments that you weren't used to seeing at that time, and they were like kind of like the start of it. Like they kind of established the groundwork for it and just kept going for it, and everybody started mimicking and copying off of it, or like incorporated it in some way and ran with it. That's
Yeah,
why I
but
think I like those because they've kind of started it.
now we're kind of veering into popularity and notoriety in media.
Well, it's not popularity to me. It's just that I just like those moments. Like, I'm not like a popularity person. Like, you know, I read reviews and stuff like that. But when I was watching that stuff back in the day, I didn't know nothing about reviews. I was just watching it because I was interested in it and it captivated me. Like, you know, the whole thing, like, let's go with the movie Gladiator because, like, it's my favorite movie of all time so far. Like, and I love so many other new movies.
I haven't seen the whole thing. My bad. Keep going.
That's cool. But I think it was Russell Crowe. Yes. But, like, that movie, man, it was just, I don't know, like it felt like it was so much heart in the movie, but like, you know, I like everything going back to Rome and Greek mythology and all type of stuff anyway. So it just kind of like captivated me, and I still incorporate that or still look for that stuff today. Like, just like I like God of War and so many other like games that incorporate that stuff or movies if they do a good job, because a lot of movies kind of suspect.
And I hear you. I hear that you're saying this is a movie that affects you on another level than, you know, other movies have, because you say you don't really go back to movies. This is one movie you go back to because you enjoyed it so much, right?
Yeah, like, so I have a nostalgia moment for it because, like, that's what captivated me, like, into getting into, like, you know, the Romans and the Greeks and all that type of stuff. Like, that's what pulled me towards that. So, like, for nostalgia, I can go back and watch that movie, like, over and over again. And I don't even know why, besides how it's, like, affecting me as how my viewpoint and my interests of today. And that's what I think of, that's what I pull in nostalgia for me as, like, how did it affect my viewpoint as it comes into modern day times and what I'm interested in?
So
I don't think that's true nostalgia either, because
that's what I was gonna say. Like, is that really nostalgia? But go ahead, Thomas.
Going back and watching it is like going back and watching something because you like it. I guess that would be somewhat nostalgic.
But I think the definition, all right, I think we should expound a bit on the definition of
well,
nostalgia.
I have the definition up in front of me.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
What does it say?
Sentimental longing or wishful affection for the past, typically for a period or a place with happy personal associations.
So associating a fond memory from, so he's technically right then. If he goes back and watches it, and it is pretty much all emotive. It's all emotion. It's all emotional. It's some kind of sentimentality, like we said.
A longing though. It's like you just go back, watch it. I enjoyed it, and keep going. Like.
So you don't have So you're saying you personally don't have a lot of nostalgia in your media.
Well, not that I'll go back to anything. Like, I pick what I buy things because of, like, you know, nostalgia. Like, I'll buy a Square game because I've liked Square in the past. So hoping they, you know, do the same thing with something new.
What about that? What about that the one I didn't shit on it, but that one video game you brought up on one of our episodes on the side scroller fighter?
River City Ransom? No.
River City Ransom?
Yeah. Is that nostalgia to you?
Somewhat, because like I don't really. I'll buy something because of that memory, but that's weird. Like, that's why I play the Yakuza game. Yeah,
that's nostalgia, Thomas.
That's why I play the Yakuza games, because I played River City Ransom, and that style. I don't know. It's weird because it's not more of a longing for the, like, if someone were to remake something that was exactly like that, I wouldn't want it.
River City Girls?
River City Girls is not exactly like it. It took the River City Ransom formula and built on it. But that's don't go to anything that's a sequel though. Also, because every sequel is banking on the nostalgia to sell.
That's what I'm saying. Go ahead. My bad.
No, it is because, like, you want the feeling of what you had before, but then you want the addition of new things into it. Like, it pulls you into it. That's kind of like, let's even go with Naruto and Boruto. Like, remember Naruto growing up as a kid and everything like that? The only reason why I'm watching Boruto is because I'm trying to feel like what I felt like from a kid, like how, like, you know, everything happened in that show.
Why not just rewatch the series then?
Huh?
Why not just rewatch the Naruto series if that's the case?
I watched the highlight clips. I do that. I do that with Dragon Ball Z too. Like, I do that. Like, I just don't watch the whole thing. That's not me. I won't watch the whole thing over again.
I like it, man.
I watch the clips that are nostalgic to me, which is
that's what I'm mainly focusing on. The drive to go back and play it or watch it.
I think that's the thing. Like the drive to go back to something old, not really there. Like
I enjoy it. And that's where I get conflicted. Am I rewatching it because as a kid I loved it and it had such a pivotal moment in my life, or am I rewatching it because it still holds up? It's still I'm still enjoying it. I still want to binge watch it. Like I have all these episodes ready to keep going and keep watching. Like that drives me to want more of it. So I keep going back and watch. Like Cowboy Bebop. That's not nostalgia. That could be considered nostalgia to me. But I got into it the first time when I was 14, didn't really understand it that much, rewatched it when I was in my early 20s, and I fucking love that series.
See, I don't think that's nostalgia though. Like,
oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's a fine line, but I wouldn't really say watching Cowboy Bebop will be nostalgia to me. I'm talking about shit like when I first watched it as a kid, where it affected me and it held so much of my attention, and for me to even talk about it to this day, is when I'm talking on nostalgia. Like Addams Family. Addams Family, when it came out, if I go back and watch that shit, it's probably trash, but I don't know. I haven't gone back and watched it.
Movie was trash when I first watched it. I don't know who I offended, but I don't like that movie. Putting it out there.
See, nostalgia is kind of weird. It's kind of weird for me. So there's lots of things that I do because of nostalgia. I don't think everything fits the enjoyment area, if that makes sense. So
no, expound on that.
Yeah. So all right. Sometimes you go to the store and you'll see some candy that you used to like when you were a kid, and then you pick it up, but now that you're older, and the calories are there, it's too sweet and all that stuff. So that's something I wanted to do, because of nostalgia, but I don't enjoy it. I've gone back to watch some movies I like you were mentioning, James, the Gladiator movie, the Patriot movie. For me, that's a nostalgic thing for me, and it's just the beginning of that movie, and the British come, and the boys fighting the thing. I liked it. I like being in that feeling of being scared of them British, and this guy who retired had to come out and kick their ass again. So I'm there with that, but there's new experiences too that I do enjoy, but I'm not sure if enjoying it or not enjoying it actually factor into nostalgia. Like, I think that's a side thing from nostalgia itself, whether or not you enjoy it. Like a lot of people like 007. I loved it when I was younger.
You talking about the video game, the GoldenEye, right?
Yeah, GoldenEye, the video game. But older, it's a crappy, clunky game, but some people still enjoy it. I'm the only one who doesn't. But
I enjoyed the shit out that game.
Yeah, when people like to get together and say, let's play GoldenEye, let's play Smash Bros, let's play some Street Fighter.
See, that's what I feel about Smash Bros and Street Fighter. That's how I feel about those games. Like, they just carried on through the generation, and having that fun time with your friends or whoever, and just coming together and playing that game. I feel like those are nostalgic. I feel like those are.
I will go back and play Alpha 2, Street Fighter Alpha 2. Like, that was my first. I will go back and play that. That was enjoyable to me as a kid. And I feel like me going back would still hold that effect. Maybe, it's not as fluid as games are now, but I know I came in here shitting on Dragon Ball Z already. But go ahead.
But you're right. You're right, dude.
But I was trying to figure out, so what's the initial, what initial side of nostalgia do you fall on?
When it comes down to certain media for me, I think. Like, as I'm speaking on it, I think I'm quicker to go back on TV shows and anime, including anime, and I criticize. Like, if I go back to Dragon Ball Z and I notice things that I just don't like, I'm seeing things that doesn't make sense. Why is this happening? Why would they do it like this? Like, I'm looking at it more because I'm adult. I grew up more. I've seen so many different type of media or anime or TV shows, and I realized what my taste really goes for. Like, I go back to watch Super. I went to watch Super because of Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball. Like, I enjoy Dragon Ball Z for what it was and what it brought.
Super. I ain't gonna lie, because I've been waiting. Because that's the exact same thing with Naruto and Boruto. The reason why I watched Boruto and the reason why I watched Super was because of the preceding one before it.
Yeah.
And with Dragon Ball Z, they had the one with the baby in it. What was that one?
GT.
GT. They don't want to include that, but they had some really good fights in GT. I don't care what nobody says. They had some really good fights in GT. And Super Saiyan 4 is epic. Whatever.
Yes.
Go ahead and make that canon and stop effing around. But
yeah.
What I was gonna say though was, so what's in your thing is you were trying to figure out if you found is nostalgia like important per se?
It's nostalgia. Does it hold weight still for you?
Yeah.
What does it when you go back and watch these things, do you go back criticizing and not liking it anymore, or do you still proceed to like it?
See, that's the hard part, because putting that caveat in it is what makes it hard. Because if you say that it does nostalgia hold weight, it holds weight. But you said to go back and watch something or do go back to something old, that's where it becomes the hard part.
It doesn't become nostalgia anymore.
Well, I don't long to go back and play or watch things. But nostalgia. Well, I was gonna say nostalgia, a lot of movies, games, and all that are people watch them because of the nostalgia of something old, like that Spider-Man game, the one that came out for PS4. A lot of people are like, oh, that in their mind, they were nostalgic for Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation 1, PlayStation 1 or 2,
PlayStation 2,
and a lot of people nostalgia about that. But then, if you go back and play Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation 2, it's not going to feel like Spider-Man on PlayStation 4. So the nostalgia factor was sold it.
But then you can see, all right, yeah, I see what you're saying. That makes
maybe Spider-Man sold it. Spider-Man,
just the actual character, just
the whole nostalgia for Spider-Man. If you,
or it's just.
See, that's why I think the whole thing is with remakes. So they do it with movies and they do it with video games.
I was just going to bring that up.
Movies, they do, we can go ahead and say Resident Evil, since we talk about it all the time. They played off that. They did it for Final Fantasy VII. They brought in the nostalgia because they know it captivated so many people for RPGs.
People are going to buy it.
Yep, and they did that. They've been doing that for movies all the time too, even though some movies just shouldn't be re-made. But I think that all goes in with creativity and nostalgia at the same time, because they're pulling in the younger generation that was younger when it first came out, and they pulling us in now because when we was a kid, it was yo, that movie was so good, I loved it. Then we're gonna go watch the new one, but they try to incorporate new stuff and make it better. That's why I think the same thing goes with video games, because it was on a different platform. Of course, our eyes are tuned for looking better. It's why the hell would I go back to a standard definition TV versus an HD TV versus a 4K TV? I'm not going to go back that way.
That's exactly what I'm saying, though. That's my point. That stuff shouldn't matter. The high intense, the high definition, the Blu-ray, none of that should matter when it comes to the original media. Let's say if I like Akira the movie, I could go back, watch Akira from what it was, not the high definition re-released. If I could go back and watch Akira for what it was when it came out in 1988, I'm pretty sure, fact check me, whoever.
There's a different art. That's an art style, though.
But it's still the form of media where you were first introduced, how it captivated, how it held you. That memory when you first watch it.
That's not nostalgia, though.
You say what?
That's not nostalgia. It's more basing something on if it stands up to today's standards at that point.
Which I don't like to do, because very rarely do those movies do that, because movies that came after it built off of it. So Dragon Ball Z had to happen for you to have the anime y'all had today, because there's so much ripped off from Dragon Ball Z. Like I said, but Dragon Ball Z didn't have the advantage of looking at Dragon Ball Z. In fact, when Dragon Ball Z came out, the animes before that, we're talking the space trip movie where they go to Pluto. I forgot, it's a train. They had a whole different art style. Dragon Ball, so it was on its own. I like a lot of the One Piece story, because the storytelling in Dragon Ball is fun, world building, all that stuff. And then the end of Dragon Ball, towards the end, the tournaments, nonstop, back to back. That's better than most of Dragon Ball Z, to be honest. And I'm not saying that for the big epic battles, but there's a lot of filler and a lot of just boring stuff.
And I don't know why they keep doing that. What's up with this filler?
That whole thing wasn't even based. You can't even use that for nostalgia, because Dragon Ball Z had a flaw to it when it was being made.
Yeah.
Because of Akira Toriyama not really wanting to
keep going with it.
Yeah, like I'm thinking, like I'm thinking along the lines of if you like, how many old school '80s anime would you go back and watch?
I'll watch Ronin Kenshin. I ain't gonna lie.
Don't people reference Ninja Scroll as being one of the best anime movies?
But how many people go back and watch Ninja Scroll?
In the 90s though.
I gonna be one of those guys. I've never brought myself to watch Ninja Scroll yet.
The thing is, like, it wouldn't be the same effect as when it came out because anime was done differently back then.
Ninja Scroll is amazing. You should watch that regardless. Like, that's a good one. Vampire Hunter D, the movie.
Vampire Hunter D. I was reading that one, man. Vampire Hunter D.
That's a real. It's all about sex. That's all it is. It's about sex, like just wanting to have sex with because the main count isn't Dracula trying to just find women. Like, that's all he wants, women.
I don't know.
In the world,
I can't remember.
It's like all it is, a bounty hunter is killing it. Like at the beginning of the show movie, it's like some sick woman in this wagon, and there's some weirdo with her, and then there's now I gotta go back and watch it, but I just remember watching it in 2012, and it was good.
That's what you.
And that's all right. That's the main focus. Whether it's nostalgia or because I reference it as nostalgia, like where. All right, we say this is good because we watched it as a kid. So when we go back and watch it, is it still good? Do you still enjoy it?
I still enjoy Ronin Kenshin, and I watched that a couple of times. If I ain't gonna lie, man.
That depends on the I did watch Ronin Kenshin once later on. I didn't watch it when it came out.
I tried.
That depends on.
I think it depends on what you're interested in. Honestly.
I think it's all nostalgia, bro. I think
you know what I think is nostalgic for me, seriously, is when I was a kid, every single time I used to get my hair cut, I used to get a peppermint patty, man. Like the New York peppermint patty. Like every single time I think about a New York peppermint patty or like I want one, I think about getting a haircut as a kid. Like that.
Isn't that more to do with your senses than nostalgia though?
I don't think so because like I think it brings me back to the moment of like, you know, my childhood, and I still enjoy peppermint patties, and I think it's like that moment of being like, you know, because that was my parents cut my hair. Like I don't get my hair cut by my parents anymore, so it was just like that moment in time that we just spent time, and I just had to stay there. I don't know. It's like a reward.
That's a true nostalgic moment right there. Though. That's like a true nostalgic moment. Oh.
Yeah, because we're talking about things outside of nostalgia, which is, I was trying to word that together earlier, but yeah, we're kind of outside of nostalgia. Right, yeah, because Max, you're talking about criticism, like, because you're a critic, like you like to go back and do that, but it doesn't have anything to do with nostalgia. So James kind of nailed what the nostalgia is. I do this because it reminds me of, but then once we get to enjoyment part, you know, I feel like that is something that happened, but that's not why you did it. It's just an off effect of it. Because the good and bad thing is just confusing me because, you know, there's plenty of things we go back to and we find out later it wasn't that good. So after we found out it wasn't good, do we go back and watch it? And if we go back and watch it, is that is that just we're just doing it because like if we go back and watch something that we know is not good just for nostalgic purposes, why are we doing that? Because you know what I mean?
I don't do that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when I think about it, like I'm thinking about if you go back to old art and all art stands up, that's like going back and looking at a Rembrandt. A Rembrandt will stand up till the end of time because it's timeless. Not because it's nostalgic. It's just because it's a timeless piece of art. That's the same thing with anything that was created. Like,
yeah, but I'm speaking on things that are more personal to you.
That's the thing.
You don't see.
Okay, so let's go back. You know how I was bringing up Naruto? I see what you're saying, Chris and Palmer. Let me go back to Naruto. So as a kid, you know, being that outside person, you know, like not being accepted and everything like that. That's how I felt growing up. So like when I watched that, like, and seeing him come into his own and seeing him accepted by everything, that's how I feel when I look at Naruto. So like when I watch that and I watch it over again for those clips and everything like that, like I see the growth in the person. Then I think about the growth in me as well. I mean, I know it's an anime and I know I'm relating myself to like an anime character, but that's what drew me in. That's what makes me want to go back to it. That's what, like, that feeling that I got from watching it. But that's the same thing when it comes to peppermint patties. Like I'm thinking about the feeling that I got. Like you know, the love and stuff what was happening, like, you know, when I was getting my hair cut and like, you know, how I would get rewarded for being like a good kid. And I still enjoy peppermint patties to this day, even though they're smaller and they jipping us. But at the same time, you know, that's why I would go back and view that anime or watch view that anime or eat a peppermint patty. Like, I feel like that's nostalgic to me because how it makes me feel every single time I do one or the other.
So, okay, so we've definitely covered around the actual anime and TV aspect of it all, but what about movies? Like, I know we spoke on a little bit, we spoke on movies, but I'm thinking, well, like, when I think of movies that I watched as a child, I think of, like, Mortal Kombat. I brought that up before. I can go back and watch Mortal Kombat again because of the nostalgia for it. But can I pick out and say how shitty it is? Oh, of course. But I still enjoy it.
That's how I feel about Gladiator, but
that's the thing. If I go back and watch something and it's not good,
you just like you said, fuck it, I can't watch this again. So
yeah.
in that moment, it's just a shitty film to you now?
You said Mortal Kombat sucks?
No. I said I could go back and watch. I said I could go back and watch Mortal Kombat and criticize it, but I still enjoy it.
Oh, okay.
And I can criticize it, but that's what. Yeah, like
fighting words with Nigel. Those fighting words.
Mortal Kombat is the shit.
If I go back and watch something, play something, and I realize it's trash.
Damn.
I'm not going to. It's done it's out of my mind at that point. It's just like nope. Purge.
So yeah, I'm saying like I could go back. I feel like I could go back. Like if I was to go back and play the old Sonic, I don't know if I would enjoy it.
I wouldn't go back and play Sonic 1. Like I would never go back and play Sonic.
Did you enjoy it as a kid?
I enjoyed it as a kid, but I would never go back and play it because I know the gameplay mechanics aren't there to hold up. It's like
it'll annoy you. It'll piss you off while you're playing the video game. Like
it wouldn't be fun.
I could go back. I could go back and play Ocarina of Time and still enjoy it.
So nostalgia does hold weight with you.
Timeless game right there.
That's a beautiful game. You said what, Thomas?
So nostalgia holds weight with you.
Yes, nostalgia does hold weight for me.
Nah, not me. Nah.
Nostalgia holds weight. Go ahead.
No, you was talking first. You go ahead.
No, I think it because the reason why it affected me so much, I go back to it. I want to see if it's still, because I want to see if my taste has changed. I want to see what am I gravitating more towards now, because I feel like we're always changing. Well, they say 25 is when your brain usually stops developing or something shit like that. But I feel like we still have our taste can change depending on what kind of media that we are recently getting into. Like I'm getting into Yakuza because Mr. Thomas, once again, thank you for that. And I never really played games like that. I've always been into story heavy and side quests. Like Assassin's Creed was one of the first games that I really enjoyed side quests for, and Spider-Man 2. But yeah, Yakuza has a great way of intermixing so much side quests, main story, being goofy, being serious, mini games that have nothing to do at all with the game, but you're still enjoying. You're playing the game within the game. Like and so if I could find a game that was similar to Yakuza in that respect, back in the day, I want to check those games out. I want to see if they hold up. I played Final Fantasy VII. The first time I played Final Fantasy VII was 2 years ago. I can't really use that as a frame of reference with nostalgia, but I'm sure if I played it when I was a kid to when I'm playing, and I could go back and play it, I love Final Fantasy VII graphic, not the improved graphics that they have for Steam. I like the original aesthetics of Final Fantasy VII. I really love it.
That game didn't age well.
But exactly, it looks like shit, and the animation still looks like shit. But like it's still, I still enjoy it.
That's the hard part. Like,
yo, that's the part that was nostalgic for me. For that stand when you beat somebody. That's all I gotta say. Man.
I love it, man. I'm sorry, I love it. I love Final Fantasy VII, and I swear I wish I would have played it when I was a kid.
But see, that's the thing. Like, I
digress.
Final Fantasy 14, no MMO, is a nostalgia trip. Like you see some even now, they even have Ruby Weapon in there now. It's a nostalgia trip for all Final Fantasy games. Will I go back and play those games? No. It's just,
I want to. That holds weight to me.
I would. Final Fantasy 3, 4, 5.
You play the original version.
Yeah, I played the originals. Yeah, I would go back and play those, and I'll play Final Fantasy Tactics. I enjoyed those.
Tactics
Turn-based stuff.
I would go back and play Tactics, but Tactics is good. It's like good. Like
Those Final Fantasy games were good. You didn't think Final Fantasy 6 was good?
Which one? Final Fantasy 3? That's the one with the crystals and the job changes and stuff.
Yeah. It had because you had the you could start off the party and pick them all out.
Was that Final Fantasy 1?
I remember 3. I had 3 for the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah. One
was
was
kind of crazy because I never heard about Final Fantasy till 7. I ain't gonna lie to none of y'all.
See, I've been playing Final Fantasy since the first one.
I've been playing Nintendo since Nintendo.
Yeah. It's like the only one that holds nostalgia value besides 7 is Final Fantasy 4 with Cecil in them, Cecil and Kane. That's it. Like,
you know, a game that holds nostalgia for me that I probably would go back and play again is Dynasty Warriors. I don't know why.
I can't play that game.
Like mowing down.
That's a good game right there. That's a good game.
I cannot play those games, man.
Yo, I don't know
Russian, like having 200 enemies come after you. I've never really been into those games. Other than Persona Scramble, that looks good to me because I like Persona. And I would try it because of Persona.
You can only see 40 enemies on the screen. They couldn't render all 200.
I can't wait to see them do it PlayStation 5.
Yeah. And then, they gonna have one on there?
Nah, I hope they do.
Yo, they do that with Unreal Engine 5. Oh goodness!
I'm sitting on 9 right now.
It's still gonna be crappy gameplay. It's just the same combos.
No, it's not.
Square. It's good if you're high. Like if you're high, you need something to do. Yeah, square.
You straight up shitted on that game. You straight up shitted on that game.
See, I think nostalgia is more like that. Dynasty Warriors is more lethargic because they changed the formula in Dynasty Warriors 9. And they were like, "Oh, we're gonna do open world, side quests, and all that." And the game is not; it doesn't feel the same. And it's
I like the old one, man. The old one, man.
Like riding a horse from castle for like a good 30 minutes to find another castle. I'm like, what is this? I was gonna go in here and hit square, triangle, and maybe a circle here and there, do a Musa move, and finish them up.
Lobo.
I think
motherfucker.
I think nostalgia holds weight, man. All right.
TV show. Oh my goodness.
Yo.
Why would you do that?
I got some.
So hold on, Nigel. We haven't really heard much from you, man.
Yeah, my bad. I was rushing my daughter's team.
Yeah, welcome, by the way. Who's this again?
Welcome back.
No. Which one? What's your take on nostalgia?
I think nostalgia is it's what really makes people go back and watch or go back and play old things. Because if you think about it, if you've never experienced that movie or game in the past, it's gonna be shitty to you. Because it's like it's so dated. You know what I mean? Like if I was to go back, someone who has never played a game like, I don't know, Breath of Fire 2. And you're like the old games, like you and all you know is like modern games, and you go back and try to play that game, it's gonna be shitty to that person.
I can't say that. We can't speak for everyone, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like most people, it's like hard for them to grasp old games if they haven't experienced it before.
That's the hard part. If they're a classic, you can go back and anyone could go back and play it. Who's that genre?
Let's like what was that one? It's called something Trail that had like Minnie Mouse and Mickey Mouse in it, huh?
Oh, my bad. Keep going.
What was that Trail movie? What was that Trail video game we had to play when we were like a kid in school? Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that shit.
When people die, like people get sick on those things. And you name them after your friends and shit. Oh, God.
I played that shit like second grade, I think. Second or third grade.
I would play it now if it was out. You know what? Motherfuck it, man. I'm going to look for that after this.
Someone needs to remake that.
No, I think you might be on yourself by yourself. I don't think I can play that game again. Nah.
I say, let someone remake that with some modern graphics and gameplay. It'll be fine.
Yo, I'm saying it's gonna be a game. It will be like what is it? It will be like what's the game that like everybody like they got the Baker's game and then you got this game that everybody farmers. Like why would it not be just as good as those games?
Oh, Harvest Moon?
Oh, whatever. Yeah, maybe that's what it's called. I don't know.
Harvest Moon.
Animal Crossing?
Yeah, Animal Crossing. Like
I can't play.
Why couldn't you play Oregon Trail if you could play Animal Crossing? I'm just asking a real question. Like why couldn't you?
Yeah, I've never had the drive to play. Like if someone would say yo, I'm telling you, if you play the N64 Harvest Moon, you'll love it. I'll be like, okay, let me check it out. I'm willing. I like to put myself out of my comfort zone sometimes, especially with certain media. Cause I have a wife that likes to watch Sex and the City a lot, so I'm usually upstairs with her watching Sex and the City at times as well. And even though it's a shitty show to me, I can't help but sit in front. I can't help but sit in front of that screen and be like, oh shit, she a fucking whore. No, let me stop.
But that's another one. That's another one. Like my wife, she watches that movie, but I think she has that nostalgia because she remembers watching that when she was younger.
Yeah,
like one of those shows she shouldn't have been watching, but she's watching it on repeat because I think
HBO Real nostalgia. Sex.
Sex in the City is a good show. That's one. Period.
Yeah,
wait, what?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm not gonna speak on it.
I'm
very
Thomas,
biased.
you want to get dragged, bro?
What you know, Randall Carey and all that? What?
I'm very biased when it comes to that.
Wait. Since we're talking about that, do we go back and watch Martin and Prince of Bel-Air because of nostalgia too?
Yes.
I'll go back and watch any of those.
Those are legitimately just good. Like to us, I don't know. I can speak for myself. I could go back and watch those like endlessly because they're good shows.
Yeah, but I'm saying, is it a good show as in a good show in nostalgia because it's older too, or is it just a good show that's the only reason why you watch it again?
I think it's a good show here, but for most people it has nostalgia, so they put it high.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking too.
I agree with that. I do agree with that.
I'll be like, yo, watch this Halloween episode where Tommy's
episode with the raccoon. The episode with the raccoon and Martin. The raccoon.
Oh, the raccoon? Yeah. Oh no, it wasn't. I think it was a raccoon.
It was on vacation.
Yo, when it was on vacation, I mean, I call it a raccoon. That was crazy.
It looked like a damn raccoon.
Awesome or something. But yeah.
No, but
there's a movie I've been.
Go ahead.
There's a movie I've been trying to get my wife to watch with me, and she just doesn't want to get with it because it's so old. The Last Dragon. That movie. That's another one that has. I might say it's good to me, but I think majority of the good is because of that nostalgia. We grew up with that show. You know what I mean? But in reality, that movie is
it's trash.
A musical. It's a musical.
Okay, yeah, it was trash, but it's a musical. Okay, so that's just like Karate Kid and like Coming to America then too, right? Or am I stretching it when I say those?
I'm about to be hated, but you go first, whoever was just about to talk. I'm about to get hated. I know that.
But see, that's the thing though, I'll say the Last Dragon right quick. Last Dragon.
This guy.
Oh man, what y'all doing?
Last Dragon.
I'm done with y'all. Go ahead, Thomas.
Is that movie? Like I went back and watched it. Like I made that mistake of going back and watching it older, and that I was like, oh no, this was a mistake. Like
I turned it off, yo. I ain't gonna lie, I'm done.
But which one? Y'all talk about Coming to America?
No, Last Dragon. Last Dragon was a mistake to go back and watch. Like
I can still do it.
There's so good parts to it, but that's not a good movie.
It's very corny.
Show enough.
Like it's a very corny movie. Like
he made that movie, first of all. Showing Up made that whole movie.
I know, but the acting's bad. The dancing makes no sense when it happens. It's like
Bruce Leroy, yeah.
That girl was cute as hell though, man. Fuck that.
Yeah, she was.
It's like Kung Pao. It's like a black Kung Pao. Well, it came before that.
It's a black
Kung Pao.
It's a black
that one. Yeah.
What is it? The Human Tornado by Rudy Ray Moore.
I don't remember that.
Old gangbusters when it came out. That movie is terrible. Boom Mike comes in the screen sometimes. Like,
wow.
Is that where Black Dynamite gets that shit from?
Yes, Black Dynamite is based on all those blaxploitation movies.
Oh dang.
Yeah, so like.
Would you go back and watch? What was the movie that had John Travolta and
Nicholas
Face Off?
Face Off.
No, Face Off was great.
The Tarantino one?
Was it Quentin? It's John Travolta and Samuel Jackson. What was that?
Oh, Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. Is that just a cult classic, or is that nostalgia when people go watch that?
That's a classic.
Classic.
That's a classic.
That's one of those movies that they show filmmakers, like up and coming filmmakers, and say, "This is how you do it." Like, I wouldn't show up and coming filmmaker Last Dragon like, this is how you do it. I'm like,
I hate Tarantino. I can't stand Quentin Tarantino.
This is how you not do it. Okay.
I'm not a fan of Quentin Tarantino, and I'm not a fan of a lot of his movies either. I'm sorry.
What?
I can't do it.
You like
Can't do
Django?
it. I'm not a fan.
You like Kill Bill?
I don't like Kill Bill. I honestly do not like Kill Bill.
What? I like some parts of Kill Bill. I don't like all the parts of Kill Bill.
I don't like Kill Bill. I don't like Kill Bill. I hated Django.
What? You hated the Django?
I hated Django. I couldn't stand that movie.
Django did one of these numbers where it got good. It was good. And then at the end, it like kind of went down. I was like, what's going on? There's a lot of
one.
Cinematography. Everything in the movie that was white got painted red. Loved it.
Nah. Not a fan. Not a fan of him. I'm not a fan. I know people hold him. They regard him. I want to see one of his older movies before he really popped off. It wasn't one. It wasn't. I think he directed it, but he didn't write it. I forgot what it was called. About two people end up falling in love, getting married. They go to a hotel or some shit like that. I forgot what it's called. It has old dude. Oh, I forgot his name. I think his last name is Slater. Christian Slater, maybe. I'm not sure.
You're not talking about the vampire one, or the?
No, that's Dusk Till Dawn. Dusk Till Dawn is actually not that bad, only because Salma Hayek's in it. But that's about it. That's only because I'm a perv. So
you didn't like
was it? Wait a second. Was it what's the name of Will Smith's wife? Wasn't Jada in one of Dusk Till Dawn's? Am I wrong?
No, she was in a Stephen King movie you're thinking of, I think.
Okay.
I forgot what that Stephen King movie's called. I forgot what it's called.
Talking about True Romance with Christian Slater?
Say it again?
True Romance?
Yes, that one. I want to see that one. I actually want to see that one. It was before he popped up. I think he directed it. He co-directed it.
Good movies. You don't like them?
You said what?
He did have good movies.
You don't like Inglourious Bastards?
I never watched it.
Oh.
The movie's like 5 hours long.
Yeah, I'm not going out of my way to watch these movies, man. I'm not. Like, if you say it's that good, I will do it. But
so you didn't
I'm
like
not
Sin
a fan.
City? You didn't like Sin City?
No,
the first
I don't
one
like
was
Sin
better,
City.
right?
But that's not on Quentin Tarantino. Sin City's not Quentin Tarantino, is it?
Huh?
That's Frank Miller. Possibly.
Yeah, that's Frank Miller did that one.
Okay.
No, he did the art for it. He did the comic book.
That was Tarantino. Frank Miller did the comic book.
Yeah, he did the comic book.
But Sin City was done by Tarantino.
Okay.
He did The Dark Knight too, right?
No. No, Frank Miller. Yeah, Frank Miller did The Dark Knight. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the movie.
What about Desperado? You didn't like Desperado?
Desperado's good. That's Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah.
What about the 8?
I like Antonio Banderas. Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek. I just said that. If Salma Hayek's in it, I'm a perv. Of course I'm going to watch it. I'm doing it.
Yeah. What about the Horrible 8?
Nicky?
What was it? The Horrible 8 or the something?
I haven't watched that.
Yeah. Is that Tarantino?
I think that's Tarantino.
That's Tarantino.
That's based off of something else. Like, that's Tarantino. But
it's a remake. Yeah, it's a remake.
It might be.
Yeah, it's a remake from an old film.
Who did 310 and Yuma? Who did 310 and Yuma?
I don't know that one. That's an old one. That's based off an old film as well.
They did a newer one, though. Who
Yeah.
did 310 and Yuma?
I have no idea. No clue.
That was
Anyways, I know Last Dragon. We can stay on Last Dragon. Oh, but no, I was gonna say Coming to America. Didn't like it that much. I'm not gonna front.
I only
Did not like Coming to America like that.
I only like certain parts of it.
I couldn't get into Coming to America like that. It was funny, people really regard like Golden Child with Eddie Murphy, Hollywood Cop. Like, I've never really been a big Eddie Murphy fan.
I like certain parts. Sometimes I like him and sometimes I don't. That's how I am.
See, I was gonna say, like, Come to America, like, his comedy style back then was cool, but that was like,
I will go and watch it. If y'all say, yo, it's good, watch it. I'll go and watch it.
Like, Beverly Hills Cop was a pop movie.
That's Hollywood Cop, my bad.
Like, Beverly Hills Cop was a pop movie because that was like a mainstream movie, but like Boomer more artsy, more not the big popular movies are the best ones probably.
So have y'all all watched Beverly Hills Cop?
Yeah.
I saw it as a kid. I went back and watched it.
Really as a kid.
So as you watched it as a kid, would y'all go back and watch it again?
No.
I wouldn't look it up to watch it because it's on.
And what about the movie that had the two dogs and a cat?
Homeward Bound.
Homeward Bound?
Homeward Bound. Yeah.
I will
Homeward
go
Bound.
back and watch that.
Yeah.
I love the
That's
shit out that
nostalgia.
movie, man.
That's nostalgia.
Yeah, that's full nostalgia. Like that's not a good movie.
Yeah.
Talking dog and cat.
Nah,
Yeah,
Chris Farley movies, like his shits were
Black
funny.
Sheep.
Like the
Hell yeah.
Black Sheep, the Fat Ninja movie. That was awesome.
Beverly
You know,
Hills
it's like,
Ninja.
Yeah,
Like,
Beverly Hills
must look like
Ninja.
Jack Black.
yeah.
That's pretty much Jack
Oh.
Black. Yeah, he is Jack. I mean, well, Jack Black is Chris Farley now.
Yeah, it's like
And the American Heroes movie that killed me. Like it was just
I've never watched
too
it.
much. It's probably one of his best ones. I mean, it's seriously the story, everything. It was good. It's very funny.
I think nostalgia holds weight depending on the form of me. Like when it comes to certain video games.
well, nostalgia definitely.
Pokemon. That's the only reason I get it.
I can
Like
play
that.
Pokemon Yellow. I will go back and play your Pokemon Yellow again.
I was gonna say too, like earlier when we were talking about video games, look at Street Fighter V. When you break from nostalgia too far, people get pissed.
Yeah.
Think
Yeah.
That's the
about-
only reason why they're playing those games, though. Like they're just playing those games through the generation. That's how I feel like
Yeah,
they just upgraded it some. Because when I look at those games, I'm like, it's the same game, and they just added some aesthetics to it. That's how in
Yeah,
graphics.
if
That's
those
how I feel like.
characters,
Mechanics.
if Street Fighter
well.
5
Prize
didn't have
money.
the skin of Street Fighter characters, Chun-Li, Ryu, Guile, if it was like totally different characters, it'd probably be a pretty bad fighting game.
Think about that too, though. When they did
Like-
Street Fighter 3, I don't think Street Fighter 3 sold as much as Street Fighter like 2 because it took Ryu, Ken, and all them out there.
Oh,
Remember,
you talking about
I
Third
think
Strike?
Not Third Strike. You're talking about
the original 3 didn't have a lot of the
yeah, I remember.
characters. That's why they're like, let's bring them back because they realized really quick, like nostalgia sells. Look at like all the skins in Street Fighter 5. How many of them are nostalgia skins?
Mhm.
The original costume. The original costumes are how the characters look in people's mind. And if you move too far from that,
Yeah.
you'll get pissed. It's
Oh,
like,
Ryu
I
with
better-
the beard.
I
That's the
better
only
keep that
reason why
black
that game
crowd.
sells. That's the only reason why that game sells is because of nostalgia. I'm telling
And
you, that's
prize
the only
money.
reason.
The tournaments have the best prize money. Like for a fighting game, their tournaments insane. A lot of people don't like Street Fighter.
it's the
Lots.
most balanced, I think. Well, it was the most balanced.
What's
But
Street
I think it's
Fighter?
the most balanced.
it's like it's the mainstream of all the fighting games. Like,
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I can't believe, you know what's kind of crazy? I can't believe Tekken or Mortal Kombat like didn't hold up like that because those games are great to
Ooh.
me.
Mm,
Because like I go all the way back in time with those games. I mean, I was playing Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Tekken at the same time.
But see, I'll say that's also why Tekken holds up as much as Street Fighter, because Tekken and Street Fighter did the right thing of not moving too far from the formula. Mortal Kombat, I remember I used to be a Mortal Kombat fan until after Mortal Kombat Trilogy. When they
Trilogy.
decided to
was-
change the game.
Oh, okay.
When they
Because
changed
I remember
gameplay-
going up all those towers, like you had to like, you know, you
got
felt
'em.
like sleep and everything. Like, yo, man, yo.
But when they broke the gameplay to make it like a 3D plane and you could like circle around each other and all that,
And
Yeah,
try to make it like a
Armageddon.
movie.
yeah.
I mean,
Armageddon.
When they took out fatality, remember at one point they even took out like personal
Did they take out
fatalities for every character.
It was a
Did you have
create a fatality, and you had to press combos to get to 10. That's what that was Armageddon. But no, I like Mortal
didn't play
Kombat
that.
because it does change. It feels different than the first Mortal Kombat, but they got the signature uppercuts and signature fatalities.
But
And
see,
they brought in RoboCop, the Joker. You know, you got crossovers that were never going to happen, like Mortal
that's the thing,
Teenage
like,
Mutant Ninja
10
Turtles.
Didn't
10
Soul
and
Calibur
11
do
went
that
back to
first?
the formula.
Yeah, Soul
Like, they went back to the older formula, and they're selling better. Like
Street Fighter, or are you talking about Mortal Kombat?
Mortal
then?
Kombat, when they went back to the older formula, it seems like it's doing better. Than
But
when
what about now? Because it's
away
I
from
feel like they're like in a movie realm. Do you think they went back to the older formula now, like the newest one?
oh yeah, because it's back to
Mortal
2D.
Kombat 11, right?
Yeah, 11's back to 2D. And,
Oh,
like,
okay.
fatalities, then they just brought back friendship. Like friendship hasn't been in it for how long?
that shit looks so funny, man.
And babalities. I
Yeah.
wish they would bring that, you know, and bestiality. I think that
What
was
the
pretty
hell?
funny.
You mean
No,
animality?
bestiality.
Animality?
Oh, never mind.
What
Look
the
at
heck?
Edit that out. Yeah. I
Yeah,
didn't
let's
mean
let's
that.
go ahead and
Yeah.
cut that out. Like, you know, next.
No, censor his ass. Put a
I was like, oh,
I
Yeah,
didn't
beat
mean
that
that.
out.
You good, man.
yeah. That's the thing. Like nostalgia has its part in a lot of media. Like
It does.
think about it. as James said earlier, Matrix did the bullet time, and ever since Matrix did bullet time,
Max Payne soaked that shit right up.
but everyone did. Like, how many times? 360
the fighting
cameras?
scenes and stuff like that, man.
I'm saying Max Payne was like the first game I played where I saw bullet time. That was the first time I ever seen bullet time.
But I think that came out after Matrix.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think the Matrix helped support that. Like, I think what's the director? The famous Asian director. He did Mission Impossible 2, I think, or 3. And he does a lot of certain kung fu, gun fu type of films.
But Chow Yun Fat used to do, right?
I forgot his name, bro.
Like Chow Yun Fat was the actor that kind of put him up, you know.
Because I don't know.
Like the guns are always flying, bullet time, 2-hand bullets. Like, I don't know. I forgot the shit. What his name is.
Chow Yun Fat's movie.
Yeah, look to see. You can look. Yeah. He did Mission Impossible. He did a couple other American films, but he was really popular. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I know the movie that you're probably been thinking of with Chow Yun Fat, but
so maybe you got to just look at Mission Impossible 2 to figure that out. Or something like
it's
that.
either 2 or 3. John, the direct, because they took a lot of influence from his movies. I think he directed it or he helped with some of the fight scenes.
Is he also
John Woo?
So you think that? What about Lady and the Tramp and like all those movies like that? Like, do you think all those movies have nostalgia too? You're like, we go back and watch What was it? The Goofy movie? Like, that's
hell yeah! My son is in love with that movie now because of how much we loved it.
That movie wasn't good either, though. When you go back and
watch it,
was a great film.
Careful.
It's a great film. You tell me you would not go back and watch and not recite Power Line's fucking lyrics? Are you bugging?
Yeah, I would not go back.
I motherfucker, you serious?
That is not how I want to spend my off day.
Yo, but you know what else is nostalgia to me? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's for everybody. Like, Remember the Time by Michael Jackson? Yo, telling you, man, that's like one song that, man, I don't know, man. Even the video killed it, yo.
In terms of the flying, man, I thought Michael Jackson really had those powers. I was telling everybody, I didn't realize. I thought that was real. That's what the one thing I remember about the Do You Remember? And when the music videos came out, it was such an epic thing for music videos.
It was.
Motherfucker had some great videos, man.
Yo, definitely.
But what were you about to say, Thomas?
It was because John Woo flick back when
John Woo. There you go.
John Woo, because he used to be a very stylized director.
That's the guy I remember. Yeah, I
remember Michael Bay.
Fucking Michael Bay. Fuck that dude, man.
He's over here hated.
He does
I don't like Michael Bay.
He does a great
job. I told
y'all
gonna hate me after this. I already told y'all.
Well, you said for nostalgia reasons. You're just hating.
I don't like. I feel like. All right, look. This is what I'm gonna say. I know we're focused on nostalgia, but we brought it here. John Woo, Quentin Tarantino, Michael Bay. My issue with Michael Bay, he relies too much on effects. There's no real direction going on here. There's something that needs to explode. You said who?
He's a summer blockbuster director. Like,
but it seems lazy to me. It just seems lazy. I'm not a fuking expert. This is just
that's how he sells, though. That's how he sells. That's his formula. He's like the baby of. Never mind.
Yeah, he's the baby of mutant movies.
I don't know, man. I'm not an expert, so y'all can kill me all y'all want. I think when you rely so much on one particular thing, like where are you building from here? Like you could do.
He's not building. He's just making a good movie with action in it.
It's like,
is it good because there's 20 other explosions going on at
he's
once?
Not making a Citizen's Kane. He's making hey, look at this explosion. Robot foot, another explosion.
We doing action scenes. It's about action scenes. It's about like what's going to draw your attention looking at the scene.
I'm really fighting for this man's movies though. Like he has not made great movies.
But you don't like Tarantino.
We're not fighting for it. We're not fighting for his movies. We're just saying that's what his style is, and he sells it well. That's all.
I'm a hater then, damn it. Y'all go ahead and lay me a fucking.
I'm a hater. Tarantino.
I don't like Quentin Tarantino because of the excessiveness of his scenes. I think it's just too much. It's too much.
It's overboard.
Yeah, it's over. Like you literally chopped off her finger. Why is there a geyser coming out of her? Like I don't understand.
it's just like anime does that too, though. Let's think about it. Anime does it too.
That's anime to me, man. I could disassociate from this.
Yeah.
Anime's gonna be over exaggerated. These movies, I feel like they're real life. So wouldn't they stand
Baki.
within?
No, because
He's an excessive bitch, man. I'm sorry.
These movies, like some movies have intense blood scenes, which
And
are based
N-bombs.
off of Japanese style of.
He likes to say the N word a little too much for my liking as well.
Yeah. Like 80 times a movie. It's like you know
What
it's
are you
coming.
talking about?
See, this is
them.
the way you hating on it is the whole reason I'm not about to watch Cowboy Bebop. Forget that show, man. Forget that.
No. You have no basis on anything.
Yes,
though.
I do,
You have
because
no
I
basis.
watched them.
I've
Forget
seen
that,
these
yo.
movies.
Forget that. I'm not watching that. No. Trash. Trash.
I'm convinced as much as he says the N-bomb in those movies, as much as the actors say it in there, like I used to think it was excessive, but with the climate of today, maybe that's about as much times as white people use the N-bomb. Like I was thinking too high, who knows?
See, the thing is, Quentin Tarantino was one of the first directors to have a slave movie where the black guy wasn't saved by a white person. Like, just throwing that out.
He wasn't enslaved by a white person?
No, the black guy was not saved. Like, the black slave was not saved by a white guy.
Initially he was released because of a white guy, but he owned his own freedom. Yes, you're right.
So it's like he was one of the first.
He deserved his, like, he got, not deserved, but he got his freedom. He made himself get his freedom. True.
Yeah, it's like most of the
but
time.
initially he was saved by a white man.
Talk about Django?
Yes, but that's like most of the times it's like, at the end of the movie,
A white dude comes to the rescue.
Yeah, it's.
I'm nitpicky. Y'all know me, man. I'm nitpicky as fuck. And if there's something that I don't like, and if it's something that I don't like and it's consistent, I'm pointing it out.
What about the Nat Turner movie that came out?
I haven't watched that one. But I was thinking like some Japanese movie that came out after, by the way, though. But like Japanese movies, like his style of like blood, that blood thing, like again back to Django. That's based off of Japanese style samurai movie, because that excessive blood comes from samurai movies.
Yeah. Oh, I know that. Yeah.
So that's why I like it.
And in those movies, it was black and white. Most of those movies were black and white, so it had to be a bit more. Except that's why Kill Bill 2. I mean, Kill Bill 1. They did that. It was like a homage to the old Japanese films.
And that's the thing, is like it's a name for that technique. When you see like geysers of blood, there's an actual cinematic name for it.
Oh, that makes sense. To have a name to it. That makes sense.
If it does, I'll try to educate myself more. I don't know. Quentin Tarantino just rubs me the wrong way.
No.
Hey, Nigel.
But go ahead. Sorry.
Now, do you feel nostalgic about any like horror movies? Because you're so into horror, like
True.
It just crossed my mind. Like, or like, what movie?
What is your most latest memory of horror, and reason why you hold it to such a high esteem?
So it's kind of changed over the years. Originally, I know I might seem silly saying this, but the movie that scared me the most when I was younger was Scream. Right?
Scream?
When I was younger, I don't know if I was 14, however old I was when it came out, it just scared the shit out of me, because it's an actual person wearing a mask that at the time I was like, that shit's scary as fuck. And then my brother bought the mask and would stand around in the house with it.
That ain't funny. That ain't funny. Wes Craven was a great director, horror director. But anyways, keep going.
But yeah, that at the youngest age, that was the one that got me the most. Even though I did see
Chucky.
Even though I did see Chucky and Freddy and Jason and all of them, it never really scared me yet when I was young at age. About
Chucky, man. Chucky
those
got
slow
me,
chases. It didn't really do much for me.
Child's play, a little doll chasing after a kid, and I'm a kid. Nah, see, that got me.
You can't kill me with a ruler. Like, that's what happened in Chucky. You killed that teacher with a ruler. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. But no, most recently I've been getting more scared on in horror when it comes to like spiritual horror. You know what I mean? With like
demons and shit.
Remember Poltergeist? Was that movie called Poltergeist where it was like a haunting of the house or whatever?
The girl was.
It was on top of a burial, an Indian burial.
I think something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can't really say there's really a lot of old horror movies that did that, because they didn't really scare me that much back then.
Gotta go back and watch Nosferatu.
The who the movie?
Oh, that's the original. That's the old
vampire movie.
Yeah, the Dracula.
Oh yeah. But I will say the original It scared the shit out of me.
Yo, I was going to say, it got me, man.
Yeah.
I
We need-
What was the one that had the killer clowns? Like they was like alien space clowns. What was that one?
Killer clowns from
That's
outer
Killer Clowns.
space.
Huh?
I've never seen the whole thing of that.
Killer clowns from outer space.
Yo, man,
They
that
wrapped
movie
you up in
freaked
cotton
me out,
candy
dog.
and would drink your blood out of a silly straw.
Yup.
Yeah.
That movie
Yeah.
freaked me out, man.
It was-
I have to go back and watching those movies. Like I feel like that would be so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's
I
just-
don't think nostalgia. I think nostalgia can work with horror, but you wouldn't take it seriously. Old horror
Yeah.
movies, I don't think you could take them seriously.
Yeah,
anymore.
Freddy Krueger, he's a comedian to me now.
I think
Like,
a lot of movies you can't take serious. That's the problem.
Yeah, see, I think those movies you watch to newer movies are kind of movies like them because of what you felt in the past. That's what I think. That's
yeah.
just me. Like, did y'all rewatch Pet Cemetery? Like,
I watched the new one.
Yeah,
I watched the new
yeah.
one. I never watched the old one though.
I watched the old one. The old one was great to me. Yeah, I love
heard
it.
it was good.
Never watched any old Stephen. Like, I never seen a lot of old Stephen King movies.
A lot of the things too with the older horror like movies and shows, they had better storytelling than what we have today. A lot of the stuff we have today, they are more into the special effects.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, like they did way more work into the special effects, like, you know, with the costume props and stuff. Today, most of the stuff is digital, and they give you these generic teen stories or whatever all the time, Home Alone, all this kind of stuff. But back in the day, like you were scared because you mentally were, you know, putting yourself in a situation, and they did so much. Like go back and pull up an Alfred Hitchcock or the Twilight Zone, some of their horror stuff. It the black and white stuff. It was great.
Yeah.
This
I agree.
stuff.
They just depend on jump scares too much nowadays.
Yeah.
Like that's the only thing that makes those horror movies horror now, and that's why I don't really fuck with them anymore unless it's like spiritual or demonic stuff. The supernatural stuff is the ones that usually grab me.
See,
Like
I think horror got ruined for me when I figured out how a lot of that stuff works, like how doors get shot open and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the special effects background.
Yeah, but I think nostalgia can still play a role when something scared you as a child, but you enjoyed it, or like growing up, something affected you as a teen or whatever. You could go back and watch. For me, I don't think I could go back and watch old horror films. They won't really. I don't think I could take anything from it. It'll probably be entertaining, but I probably won't like it.
The Shining.
Shit, The Shining. Ooh.
See, that's
I mean, there it is, right?
But I consider that a thriller. I don't really consider that a horror.
Okay.
Amityville horror. I mean, the Amityville house and Poltergeist. I won't watch again because those are too much for me.
Really?
Like scary?
Yeah. And
Amityville is pretty tough.
Yeah, but Poltergeist set, like people on that set like died and stuff. There's yeah, dude, the Poltergeist thing. There's a whole bunch about that. Like it's a serious thing. Like it's a weird.
I'm gonna be real. I'm actually kind of apprehensive to watch the original Exorcist.
Yeah.
That was what I was talking about, not Poltergeist. Exorcist. That's the one I meant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
All right. Yeah.
That people
there's a lot
actually
of
died
drama on that
years later because of that, or they blame it on that movie. That movie was cursed or whatever.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just got chills thinking about that movie.
I won't
That's
watch that
one
movie
movie.
again. I ain't gonna lie. I won't.
That's one movie I don't want to watch. Like I'm not in a rush to watch it, or I don't
never
want to
seen
watch
it?
it at all. No.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, I'm actually really like Hereditary. I'm still holding that off.
That's
Hereditary
I haven't watched that yet either.
Oh
and
my goodness, what are
Midsommar?
y'all doing? I need y'all to sleep with the lights on a couple
Nah.
times.
I don't
But
want to
alright,
watch the movie
alright.
then.
Okay. So can we individually? Has anybody? Well, I'm not gonna say has any of your stances changed because there wasn't really a stance. More of a how do you feel about nostalgia and and how it affects you with old media too presently. I still think when it comes to certain media, I'll go back and watch it or play it, and it just won't affect me anymore, like it did when I was a kid. That's me
Trash
personally.
media. I'm joking.
Oh, beautiful taste, damn it. Nah, but
So far, I don't
how-
think so.
You said what?
I don't think so.
Oh, shut up. Anyways, How about y'all? Any of y'all like? Y'all still feel this like because we never really expounded on that. How do you feel about it?
For me, I would say like nostalgia helps with my future purchases, but I don't like to go back and look at the old things unless it's like a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Like
To you, okay.
It helps with my future purchases, just like we was talking about video games like Street Fighter and stuff like that. But like those little clips that like capture me the most, I would go back and go watch. That's me.
So you just like the quick moments of nostalgia. Like you can just absorb those. You don't want to go back and rewatch the series or the movie like that.
Not the full thing. I'll go back to the points that captured me the most when I watched it then. Like,
Fair enough.
certain movies I could watch the whole thing for, but usually that's because it's a movie. But if it's like a whole series or something like that, I'm not doing that. I got plenty of other new series to go watch.
Okay, fair enough. So Thomas, James, and I, we stayed our point. What about you, Palmer and Nigel?
Personally, me, I'm not a retro gamer, and when it comes to movies, I'm not incentivized to go back and watch. I do prefer newer, but like somebody was saying earlier, if it is a masterpiece and I forgot about it, yeah, I'll go watch it. But I remember a lot of stuff, so I don't have a need for it, and it's not. I don't enjoy marathons. Rewatching like I couldn't go back and watch Star Wars all over again. I couldn't do that with Lord of the Rings. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm tired of seeing Harry Potter. I don't know who's gonna hate on me because of that, but I'm tired of seeing Harry Potter. Yo, they play.
My wife would hate you right now. My wife would spite you down from like Zeus in heaven. In the heavens.
So often, I still love it. Okay, so I was just watching Harry Potter like in Memorial Day weekend, but it's replayed so often. I still watched it, but it's replayed so often.
You don't understand how heavy the Harry Potter scene is, sir.
Yeah,
I never watch it.
They go hard.
I started wearing glasses because of Harry Potter. So
motherfuckers fight over this fucking movie. All right, I'm just like the franchise people fight over this shit.
Yeah.
I'm just
saying. I know that's why I said I might be hated. I still watch it though. I still watch it.
All right, what about you, Nigel?
So for me, most things, whether it's a game, a movie, or series, I would go back and watch it again if it has that nostalgia. If I'm experiencing it again with someone who hasn't seen it. Like there are some series that I went back with me and my wife. She didn't see Dexter. I sure as hell I had the whole damn DVD set. I was like, we'll watch it again. And I did. I sat through it and I enjoyed it again. I did that. Same thing with like Lord of the Rings. We went back and we just binged it one weekend, all three of them. So I can watch them again, but when I do it on my own, like if one day I wake up, I'm like, let me watch The Last Dragon. I'd probably do that one, but usually I won't go back and just watch something on my own. But games I think are different. Like I got to be in a particular mood. I'll go back and play A Link to the Past anytime because it holds that nostalgia for me. You know what I mean?
You can play the old graphic Link to the Past.
I can play the old graphics. Yeah.
Would y'all watch any of the Bruce Lee movies over again?
Yes, I got them. I rebought them on DVD and Blu-ray.
Okay,
I haven't seen all of them, so
just check.
They're masterpieces though. Like those are.
They are. They are.
Yeah. I can watch Enter the Dragon, Chinese Connection, Fist of Fear. I can watch all of those.
I haven't seen
Jackie Chan stuff too.
Like
Rumble in the Bronx.
The Rumble in the Bronx. Yeah. Boy.
Oh, shit. God dang it, Jackie Chan. I gotta watch that.
Oh, I'll watch that again. It was amazing, and that's where he is. Why he is where he is. I mean, he actually built that genre up. I mean, he really did. And nobody else can do it like him, like at all. Like a Jackie Chan movie.
I so wish that Jet Li could, man. Like, cause I like Jet Li so much, man. Yeah. Shame.
But all right, fellas. I think we came in with some discussions. I think there might have been not a might have been, but I think we just definitely have a different view on nostalgia or how we approach it or how we consume it afterwards. But me personally, I'm a binge type of person. I'm a rewatcher, rerun for all shows. I watch Bob Burgers on a regular basis all the fucking time. I haven't even caught up with the most recent season because I just enjoy it so much. I just keep rewatching it. But no, yeah, I appreciate this one, fellas. We did a good job on this one. Maybe the viewers that watched this far in could comment and tell us what they think too, or if they obviously agree with me, I would appreciate that. Give me some more clout.
Crash.
But all right, we're good, man. Anybody else got some follow-ups? Anything else they want to say before they get off?
I'm good.
That's
I'm
it,
good,
man. And we're Media Marauders, man. We still coming back with more content. This is Max. We got James, Palmer, Mr. Thomas, aka Mr. Random, and Nijele, aka Nigel. All right, everyone. Thanks again. We'll come back when we can come back. Y'all have a good night. Oh, and don't forget, please like and subscribe. Click like and subscribe, and also hit that nice little bell of the notification to let you know of all the content that we have and future content that we'll be bringing onto this channel. All right, thank you. Y'all have a good night. Media Marauders out.